Hello, JPU family. Welcome to another episode. Guys, has Northwest St. Anne seen more progress since Dayton Campbell lost the seat? Over the years, I've watched Krystal Lee work. She doesn't say much. She does more than she actually says. Unlike Dayton Campbell, who spoke more than he did. The latest piece of work I saw by Miss Krystal Lee was the refurbishing of the clinic in her constituency.
Bamboo Health Center for the community. Bamboo. As you can see, it's a solid building, well sorted out in terms of patients and staff, seating, air conditioning, good bathroom areas for mothers and for their children and for the community.
And I stopped and took a look and was like, this is so modern, and I can see the hard work that is being put in to make the community better and more efficient for the constituents. Now, politics should never be about personalities. We know that. It should never be about who can shout the loudest and who can trend on social media the most or who can deliver the sharpest attack. That's the type of politics that we see from Dayton Campbell. Politics is supposed to be about service. That's how you measure success, is service. Politics is supposed to be about results, about improving the lives of the people who elected you. And when we examine Dayton Campbell's political career, one question keeps coming back to the surface. What exactly has he done? Guys, for decades, Dayton Campbell has been one of the most visible voices within the People's National Party. He's always available for a political fight. He's always available for a television interview. Always available to criticize the government. Always available to attack the Prime Minister. Always available to attack members of the Jamaica Labour Party. And if we should be honest, he has even spent significant time attacking members of his own party. But here is what's fascinating to me. The one person Dayton Campbell seems unwilling to attack is the woman who defeated him, Krystal Lee. And perhaps, there is a reason for that. Perhaps the work speaks for itself. I don't know. But since Krystal Lee became Member of Parliament, she's focused on something that voters understand better than political speeches. Results, road improvements, community projects, housing assistance, school repairs, water-related initiatives, clinic refurbishment, community engagement, constituency development. No politician is perfect. No constituency gets everything it wants overnight. But when residents can physically point to projects in their communities, they begin to feel that their representative is present. They begin to feel represented. And that's important because politics is not performed in Parliament alone, okay? Politics happens in communities. Politics happens on roads, in clinics. Politics happens when a parent sees their child school receive much needed attention. Politics happens when a family gets access to water, when vulnerable citizens receive assistance after hardship. That is where representatives earn respect. One of the biggest mistakes politicians make is believing that speeches can replace performance. They cannot. A fiery speech may trend today, but a repaired road serves people for years. A press conference may generate headlines, sure. A functioning clinic, however, improves lives. A viral attack may excite party supporters. A completed project, however, benefits entire communities. And you know what? Voters eventually notice the difference. Many people in Northwest St. Anne appear to have reached that conclusion. They wanted a representation that focused on development. They wanted someone who would spend more time building and less time fighting. And whether people support JLP or PNP, many residents will judge politicians based on what they can actually see. Now, Dayton Campbell finds himself in a different political environment, Westmoreland, and this brings a completely different challenge because Hurricane Melissa caused significant damage in sections of western Jamaica. Communities were affected, infrastructure impacted, homes damaged, families suffered losses. The needs are enormous, which means expectations will also be enormous. Residents are looking for solution, not excuses. They want leadership and they want advocacy, strong advocacy. Residents want someone who can help deliver recovery and development. What did Dayton Campbell do? Voted against NARA, okay? Not even a year good in the constituency. And Dayton Campbell voted against what should help rebuild the people's infrastructure. His constituency got hit really bad. With that being said, a very important question to analyze here. Will the hurricane help or hurt Dayton Campbell? And this is where the political calculation becomes interesting, because some people may argue that the hurricane gives Dayton Campbell a convenient explanation if development moves slowly. After all, rebuilding after a major disaster takes time. That's true. But the opposite argument also exists. A crisis can be an opportunity for leadership. Some politicians emerge stronger after disasters because they're visible. They organize relief. They advocate aggressively. They remain on the ground. They become known as problem solvers. So the hurricane can either become an excuse or an opportunity. That choice belongs to the politician. The voters will decide which one they believe happened. I want you guys to keep this in mind. When things go wrong, governments often get blamed. Sometimes fairly, sometimes unfairly. And Dayton Campbell has built much of his political brand around criticizing the government. Even when his party was in opposition and he was in parliament. And I am of the view that even if you are in opposition, when you're in parliament, you are there with people where all of you have equal opportunity to represent the people. It's who make the best representation, who's going to deliver for their people, right? No, but as I said, Campbell built much of his political career and brand around criticizing the government. So it would surprise nobody if future challenges in Westmoreland are blamed on the administration. That's predictable. That's politics. But eventually, voters ask another question. What did you do? Not what the government didn't do. What did you do? What did you advocate for? What did you secure? What projects did you champion? What problems did you solve? How often were you present? Those are the questions that separate politicians from leaders. But there's a bigger lesson, and this conversation is really bigger than Dayton Campbell. It's bigger than PNP and JLP even. The lesson is that modern voters are becoming more result-oriented because the world is changing. You know, we look around the world and see what's going on. Wars here, gas prices gone up there, cost of living, and all these things. People want results. They want better roads. They want better schools, better access to health care. They want water. They want safety. And increasingly, voters are less interested in political theater and more interested in tangible outcomes. The politician who understands that reality will thrive. The politician who doesn't or ignores it may find themselves struggling as Northwest St. Anne continues to move forward, guys. Many residents will compare and are comparing what they see today with what they experienced in the past. A lady used to call a program during the election season from down there, and she used to tell us how satisfied she is with representation compared to when Dayton Campbell was there, right? Meanwhile, Dayton Campbell begins his new chapter in Westmoreland under circumstances that will test his leadership abilities more than ever before, right? The hurricane has created enormous challenges, but it has also created enormous opportunities. The question is simple. Will Dayton Campbell be known as a builder after being in politics for so long and hasn't built anything? Or will he remain known primarily as a political critic, somebody who will argue and trace with people? The voters of Westmoreland will ultimately answer that question because the dynamic has changed for them too. This is not the Westmoreland of 20, 30, 40 years ago. The hurricane has changed Westmoreland forever. And as always in politics, performance matters more than promises, right? Meanwhile, back in St. Anne, Krystal Lee continues to work on behalf of the people with tangible results. Guys, this is Jamaica Politics Uncovered. Thank you for watching. Make sure you're subscribed here. Please give this video a thumbs up and share it with someone. I'll catch you in the next video. Thank you for watching.